We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
with us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes, yeah?
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay!
Hi, my name is Serena. I am a mother to a toddler and currently pregnant.
And hi, I'm Lisa, also known as the Singing Amma. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an Amma.
At the beginning of my first pregnancy, I felt like I was lacking my village, which is why we are here creating a village with you, in hopes that you won't feel as isolated as I did.
I also felt the lack of a village in my early parenting years way back when. And I come to our village with a background in early childhood education. I have been coaching parents along their parenting journeys and supporting them for over 35 years.
Amma, Lisa, and I invite you to grab your latte
or your tea
and come sit around the proverbial fire with us each week,
when we come together to have a conversation where we'll be talking all things parenting, keeping it real, keeping it raw, right here with you. Hello, I'm Lisa, the Singing Amma. Today's column is called, How Do I Make My Child Mind Me? Dear Singing Amma, if you have any advice that will help me to not raise my voice so much to my son, I'd appreciate it. I was raised by a really stern father. I'm trying not to be as tough on my little guy as my dad was on me. But how do I make my 5-year-old mind me? Signed, Trying to be a good dad. Dear inspiring Dad, parenting is the most important job we will ever do. We are raising the citizens and leaders of tomorrow's world. And parenting is a job most people never get any formal training in. We learn how to parent either by emulating what we thought our own parents did, quote unquote, right, or by doing our best to not do to our little ones that which we didn't appreciate having been done to us. Either way, we are stumbling in the dark, with our most formative years, approximately the first 7 years of life, being our only, quote, education, end quote, in the realm of parenting. Those years that formed who we become. It can be challenging to undo what became ingrained in us so early. So I am always inspired by parents who are doing their best to break the not so great parenting patterns of previous generations. Important building blocks for any healthy relationship, one in which people do not yell at each other as a regular way of being, are feelings of being safe and connected. When your son is, quote, not minding you, end quote, look closely, and you will likely find some breach of trust or loss of connection. First, focus on rebuilding the connection between you. You could have some extra snuggle time or quiet story time. Remember to say, I love you often and again. Say it again. Go outside and explore together. For father and son, sometimes a play wrestling match is a good reconnector. Playful or gentle physical contact often goes a long way to rebuilding connectedness. Children inherently want to please their parents. I know, it doesn't always seem that way, but it is a survival mechanism built into our DNA. If a child is bucking against your lead, check to see. Are your expectations age appropriate? Are you respectful of the child's stressors? Are they tired, hungry? Have they already had a busy day? Is your child testing healthy new levels of independence? You can practice being playful instead of stern or strict whenever possible. This robot must buckle you in your car seat within 10 seconds. Please help me count to 10 now. Or, those boots are in the doorway and may trip somebody. There is a shelf where they belong. Please conform. Please conform. Said, of course, in your best robot voice. As a general rule, if you would not want your spouse to speak to you, or for you to be spoken to by any other adult in a certain way, for example, get your coat on this minute, then it is likely an inappropriate way to speak to a child. Respect is a two-way street. Lead by example. Children learn by observing and then mimicking the people closest to them. You, the parent. If you want your child to respect you and to speak respectfully to you, it is imperative that you speak respectfully to them.
Your robot voice is too good in that one.
Thank you. Did it change your mood?
Yes, it did change my mood, not my mind.
You remember that one from a few episodes ago? Change a mood, not a mind.
Yes, it's a lot easier to change the mood, and that changed my mood. I could not stop laughing.
Good.
But
that it'll have that effect on the children too. And just to jump in, we're all so much more willing to do what has to be done if we're in a happy place in ourselves. If we're giggling, it's like, sure, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll do it. Right?
Yes, and that was such a good column and such good feedback. There's so much in there, and just everything you said was a gem.
Thank you.
But Yeah, we don't get enough training in parenting. We just kind of start emulating what we grew up with, or we try to do the opposite. I know
Mm-hmm.
for me, I kind of steered towards the opposite, but my dad was very strict and stern, and I always said I'm going to be strict. But I know that created, there wasn't much of a connection. Like it was, I know it was a cold relationship. And I love my dad, I respect my dad, and but he was very stern and very about discipline. But I could never feel like I could just go up to my dad and hug him. It's more like,
Mm-hmm.
let's love each other from a distance. and
Mm-hmm.
and so I know I try to be as loving as possible with my daughter, because I don't want to feel weird approaching her for a hug, and I don't want her feeling that way. Like I want to embrace each other and love each other, and she's my little mush, and I just always need to squeeze her and hold her. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really felt that and connected with that. um and it's true about creating trust, and maybe they're not listening because there is some kind of break in trust,
Mm-hmm.
or they're not feeling connected.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a good call. It was really good. um yeah, and respect being a two-way street. And are you respecting your child's stressors? You might think, what are they stressed about? They're a kid, they have it so easy. They're But
Mm-hmm.
they do get stressed. There's a lot of frustration in being a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're a parent that thinks that their kid isn't going through anything because they have everything so easy. But they don't know what it's like being an adult and having to work and pay the bills, because that's not their life yet.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So so showing them that you respect them is the best way to teach them to respect you.
Totally. Yeah. And also that piece about their stressors, sometimes with very, very young, like yours, the little toddlers, whatever, and infants, a stressor is I'm hungry, I'm cold, I'm tired, like they're physiological stresses in the body. And young children don't have the brain development yet to be able to regulate those for themselves. They don't have the brain development yet to be able to say, Mama, I'm hungry. They just have a meltdown, or they just get cranky at you, or they just hit somebody. You know, they don't have the ability. And that was the leads into the piece about, are your expectations for your child age and stage appropriate? If you don't want to read any parenting advice or listen to any parenting advice stuff, because there's just so many different ways of doing things out there, I really recommend at least learning about ages and stages of development. Because if you're expecting your 2-year-old to share, it's not in the brain development of a 2-year-old to be able to know that that human being over there could have this car and I could have this car and we'd both be happy. I just want all the cars. And that's just my world. That's just my world. I just want all the cars. So insisting that our toddlers share, it's not fair. It's not fair on them. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent like I often do. Back to you, Serena.
No, but that's true. And like you say, and giving them the words and explaining to them, oh, she
Yes.
doesn't have any cars, look, she's upset. And not just share. You have to share, and
Right.
just demanding and yelling at them, and they're still not getting it. They're not going to do it, and you're going to get more frustrated, and maybe your voice may get louder, or your patience
Mm-hmm.
might get shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are you creating there when you're yelling at them? You're scaring them, you're pushing them away. That's not going to make them do what you want them to do anymore.
Yeah. And telling children that it's nice to share. Don't be a bad girl, be a nice girl, be a good girl and share. It's like all that whole world is just so fraught with creating problems in the moment and ongoing. You're now connecting their inability to share because they're not at that developmental stage yet with them being a good or nice person. You're qualitatively impressing upon them that they're either good or bad, which in my books doesn't exist in the world of children. They're exhibiting behaviors that are appropriate for their age and stage, and it's our job to guide them. So yes, giving them the words for a situation. And Serena and I had a conversation about this earlier, where I worked in an under threes daycare for a couple of years. So there were 16-month old to 32-month old. So basically 14 2-year-olds all in one room. And they don't have the verbal skills yet. They don't have the self-regulation yet. They don't have the ability to say, they don't even have the ability to say, I want that. They just go and grab it. And so when I would see things like that happening, this was the place where I really developed this skill of giving words for a situation. Come in gently, and even if it's just your child and a cousin or a friend, a couple of children, come in gently and say, "Oh, I see Susie's face is looking sad right now. I wonder if she would like one of those cars." And, just giving the children the words. "Susie, could you say, may I play with one of those cars, please?" And if the other child says no, then Susie could also say, can I play with it when you're done, please? And often, if you give them those words, can I play with it when you're done, please? They'll give it to them right then, because there's not a combat that's getting lined up for them. Yeah.
And just to go back to feeling connected, I think that's really important too, because I know obviously we talk about these things because it's something we're all learning. I'm always going through the learning process as I'm raising my 1.5-year-old, and like getting in the car seat, and it can become a fight. But I know once I realize where I'm going and where my frustration is going and my anger, and once I tune into that and I can realize, okay, maybe I just need to change the mood, right? Like you say. And I try to give her a hug or get silly and make her laugh. Then we can get back on track so much easier.
Totally.
And sometimes it's like, come here, can I just hug you? And she'll come running for a hug, and then we're okay after that. And it is about feeling connected and not just being stern and do what I say. Because all kids are different. For me, I would listen to my dad, so for a while I thought that's how you have to do it, because I would be scared of my dad. I want to do what he told me to do, or I knew consequences were coming. But and then also seeing my aunt, because my aunt is she's very good at that, change the mood, not the mind. And she's very good with being playful, and I kind of grew up seeing that as like she's spoiling him, she's giving him a little too much leeway to get away with things, and no, he needs to be disciplined. And so I grew up seeing it very different and thinking he was being a little spoiled and he needs more discipline in his life. And I mean, now that I'm going through it with my daughter, I see that we just need to feel connected, and I need to make her feel like she can trust me and that she's comfortable with me, and show her that I respect her so that she learns how to respect me. Sometimes if we're going through something frustrating like that, and we're just like, why won't you just listen? And we kind of easily put the blame on the kids. But, kids, like you said, maybe don't understand. They don't have that mental capacity yet. So instead of why won't you just listen, we need to take a step back. And it's work on ourselves, not
Yes.
just raising our kids, but learning ourselves that, maybe our kid needs something right now, and maybe like they don't know how to tell us they're hungry or that they're really tired. So, and that happens to me too. Sometimes my daughter's really tired and I'm like, Andrea, come on, let's do this. And she's not with it. And it's because she's exhausted.
Yes.
And I'm like, Andrea, get in bed. Get in bed.
Yeah.
Like she's tired,
And it doesn't go all that well, right? When we try to force our children to do something and we're not connected to what's actually going on for them. And I love that you said, when you ask her to come on, let's just have a little hug. And it immediately realigns you together, the two of you. And when I said in that column, children innately want to make us happy. They want to do what is going to work. And most parents are going to go, yeah, right, Mama, because that's not true. But it is. We are, okay, human babies are born wanting and needing on an innate animal level, like we are animals, we are mammals, to please the caregivers around us, because if we don't, we might not survive. It's a survival mechanism. We need to do what needs to be done so that we will be taken care of. And so when we come in with harsh punishments or consequences or whatever, we're actually breaking that bond and that trust that says, inside my inner being, I know that I'm safe here. I know that I'm secure. I know that I'm going to be taken care of. The more that we can attach to our children, have them feel attached and safe with us, the more gentle and playful and calm and easygoing all of this is going to be. I promise you, it really, really is.
Did you ever watch Super Nanny?
No.
No? You don't like Super Nanny?
I don't know. I should, because I have a preconceived idea. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I love Super Nanny, honestly. And when I would watch it, and this is not to say that, kids, like you said, certain ages, certain stages, and I think understanding consequences as well. And no, it's not hitting, but it can just look like understanding consequences. And maybe, you take something that they enjoy away. Maybe it's, I don't know what you think about that, but consequences. And I think if your child is really getting out of hand and it's something outside of this, I think it's okay to, take away TV privileges for a while. What do you think about that, Alma?
I think that actually sets us up for problems, honestly.
Yeah. So what about consequences?
That is a whole nother conversation.
That is another conversation, but we never spoke about that, I don't think.
No, we need to do a whole episode.
Okay, so we'll do an episode on
consequences work or not work. I think the only thing that I think about the Super Nanny that I remember, tell me if this is true, is that she uses timeout.
She does use timeout, so that's why I was getting into it. No timeout.
I have a whole column about timeout.
Okay,
so let's record that one soon.
Yes, that will be a very interesting one.
And that will talk about why timeout is detrimental, why it is just please don't do it. When we come, all of this is a blanket statement that I can make about this because we don't have time today to get into all the details. And that's why it's beautiful that we have a podcast. So every week we can go deeper into pieces of all of this. When we use power over another human being, and this is a small, dependent upon us human being, when we use power over that says what you just did is wrong or bad, or I didn't like it, or that's not okay, and we impose a consequence like you've got to go sit on that chair, you've got to go sit in your room, what is that doing to the trust in that relationship? It's just breaking it. It's cracking it. And the more often that we exude our power over that other human being, the more we create cracks in the mutual respect that we're trying to build together, the love, the affinity. You've talked about how you don't feel that, like you love your dad, and there isn't that affinity, there isn't that closeness, there isn't that I can go to him and cry on his shoulder. I can go and say, hey, daddy, let's go do something together. And I don't know. I mean, for me, parents are the people that in the perfect world that I can feel safe with so that I can grow up to be my best self. If I'm not feeling safe and secure and loved and cherished even, and it doesn't mean that we're going to let them run ragged all over us. No, those boots need to be picked up. There's a shelf they go on. That's a little tiny one, right? But it's all those little ones that add up too. I'm sorry, I can't, I cannot let you push the new baby. Babies are not for pushing. I'm going to give you a big snuggle right now and hold you really close.
Mm-hmm.
Which is quite different from saying, no, I've told you so many times, don't push the baby, go to your room and have a timeout. Right? Honey, babies aren't for pushing. Come on over here. Mama's got you. Mama's got you. Mama's got you. It's the behavior that's coming out that we don't like, the type that, whatever it is, whether it's leaving their boots in the middle of the doorway all the time. When they're older, you'll see that happen. Or pushing of another child, or the hurting, or the throwing something down, all the different behaviors that we would call, quote, negative behaviors, they have a feeling underneath them. And it's the feeling that needs to be addressed. The behavior needs to be stopped. No, toys are not for throwing. It's dangerous. It could hurt someone. It could break the window. Toys are not for throwing. Come on over here. I need you right now. So you set a boundary, and you can be firm about it. And you can even get angry sometimes. And you will. And there's always the place for love and connection. Always.
Yes, we're gonna have to, because then my question is consequences. When do they learn consequences? But we'll save this for another episode.
The aim is to create a relationship that is one where our children want to please us.
Yes, and yes, creating a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I guess the problem is when, thankfully I'm starting this young and learning all of this, but like when they're 6, 7 and you've been doing things a different way by yelling and punishing and maybe hitting and just not the village way.
Mm-hmm. But
when you've set it up for it to look like something different, and then I guess the problem comes with them just not listening at all. And there's maybe that point of that is there is no connection and there is no trust. because of everything that.
You've created cracks all the way along in the trust. You've eroded the trust. You've eroded the connection. Every time you punish a child, every time you set heavy consequences on a child feeling upset because they just threw a toy and it almost hit their baby sister's head. And so mama got really upset. There's enough of a consequence already. I tell you, that child is already feeling like, oh, whoa, what just happened? Like they're not stupid. They feel the feelings, you know? And so it's like, wow, that is not okay. I need you to move away. I'm going to pick the baby up right now. And now come on over here and be with us. It's always about reconnection, reconnection. Setting boundaries, yes. We'll get into consequences in another episode.
Yes. But yes, you do have a good point in and protecting that connection is important, but that also takes a lot of patience on the parent side, I guess.
I find that parenting is not just about raising another human being. It's about actually healing ourselves and a lot of the wounds that we might have experienced as children growing up, the disconnection that we felt, the hurt that we felt when a parent didn't understand us, when a parent wouldn't listen to us, you know, or a teacher or whomever, a grandparent. All of those wounds that we carry around, they have us react to our children in knee-jerk kind of reaction ways. And if we can stop, here's the thing about timeout. If you're freaking out about a situation that's going on with your child, you take the time out. Say, oh, I've got to go to the washroom now. I've got to go to the bathroom. I got to go. Yeah, I'm just going to go outside for a minute and go through that door and close the door for a minute. And you take a time out and you calm yourself down and you go, wait a minute, this is my toddler. This is my 6-year-old. This is my 15-year-old. This is a human being that I love more than anything else on the whole planet. And, you know, there may be a few others that come in that category. And I don't want to destroy this. Who do I need to be right now that can make the boundary known clearly and not destroy the relationship in the process, not undermine the relationship and the connection in the process?
Like I said, that takes a lot of work for ourselves, and it's not really, that's something I'm learning.
Yes.
It's you taking a step back and you having the ability, because we want to change our kids so much, but we need to be able to notice and take that step back and say, okay, I need to go outside for a second and just relax, because I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy with what just happened.
And sometimes, and maybe lots of times, especially if this is a new concept for you, you're going to blow it. It's not going to be that way. You're not going to be that perfect human who goes, oops, wait a minute. Oh, I think I need a timeout. And how do we expect our children who are 1.5 or 5 or 10 or 15? How do we expect our children to know how to do it? We don't know how to do it. We don't know how to regulate ourselves.
Yeah.
When we're reacting to something that's going on in our environment. That's all our children are doing. They're reacting to something either in their bodies, if they're hungry or tired or upset about something that just happened. It might have happened an hour ago and now it's just bursting out of them. And it's the what happened an hour ago. What's the feeling that's in there that's causing this outburst of behavior? You know, it's not about how could you do such a thing? Da, 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 you know, that they're reacting. It's our job as parents, as the adults in the situation, to have the wherewithal as often as we possibly can to not react in that moment with frustration or whatever, but to take that breath and to choose how we want to respond. And I will give you this before we close off for today. When we respond to something, react to something, so you talked about your little one not being helpful, getting in the car seat. Classic toddler behavior. Their bodies are going all the wrong ways.
Oh
It's
my
really
gosh, it's like the exorcism.
it's like and so that was one of my examples with the robot voice, right? We must get buckled in. So that's changing a mood and not a mind. Try it. You could also try, I think it's very important to get into the car seat now. So if you can do accents, if you can sing, let's get into the car seat now. And they may not be in that place. Depends what part of the resistance you get to them. If you get to them early, very early in the resistance, you see it starting, singing might work. Another thing that might work is whispering. Whispering can get a lot of attention from little ones. But what are we doing? it's far more effective than yelling, I tell you. And then if you're in that situation or whichever situation you're in, and you're like, oh, what are you doing? And you explode and you yell, or you say something that you regret saying that you know is hurtful to your child, and you stop and you explain to us, Serena, you had that moment where you go, oh, she's tired. I know she's tired. And it's not her fault that we're late coming home. It's not her fault. I don't want to do this to my child. So if you have that moment that you explode before you have the clarity of what's going on, and you feel that remorse and that guilt, oh my God, what did I just say to my child? I just yelled at my child. Oh my God, she's tired. It's not her fault. Then you can say, hey, honey, let's erase and begin again. So you actually physically take her back out of the car. If you haven't got her buckled in yet, if you got her buckled in, you're going to leave her there. But you can rewind the whole tape. So you take her out of the car and you go, here we are. We're going to get in the car seat. And she may start resisting again. And then you're going to come at it from a different way. But you also pre-paving the way that it's going to go is a really helpful tool. So let's erase and begin again. You rewind the tape and you start again when you get to the car. Okay, here we are at the car. Now, Mama's going to open the door and I'm going to scoop you up and I'm going to get you in your car, sit you down, and then we're going to get those rascally straps on you and we're going to buckle you in and we're going to listen for the clicking sound so we know you're safe. And then Mama's going to get in the car and we're going to drive home and we're going to get home and we're going to snuggle into bed. So pre-paving, that's telling what's going to happen, what's coming up, is really, really helpful. But the erase and begin again, it's like, let's just redo. Let's have a redo. And it's so powerful. And you can say, I apologize for yelling. I apologize. I'm sorry. That's not who I want to be in your world. I want to be your loving mama. And sometimes I get frustrated and I yell, and that's normal. And we all do. And that's okay.
I like that you ended that with and saying sorry, because then they'll know when they yell, I'm sorry, mommy, and they'll see how you coped with it, because it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll learn those techniques and implement them. And maybe not when they're young, but then maybe when they're parenting.
Oh, they will learn it young. I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, it's amazing. My daughter would be so empathetic and compassionate and apologize for yelling because I modeled that for her.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy, I'm sorry I yelled. I'm just so mad right now. They will start very young in life. You are the leader. You get to model the behavior that you know will have them grow up to be a kind and empowered human. And yes, they will do it with their own children too.
All right. What a good episode. And thankfully, you've given me those tools and learning to change a mood, not a mind. And It's fun putting it in place and seeing it work. I mean,
Nice.
not to brag, but my daughter's such a good girl. but having these tools really helps, and I see it affecting her in a good way, and that's why she is the way she is. And
Mm-hmm.
thank you for all these tools.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being receptive and interested in learning.
Yeah, relearning and unlearning what
Mm-hmm.
I was raised with.
Yeah, there's a lot of unlearning for sure. So good, though. And thank you, everybody, for being here with us in our virtual village. We really hope that you have some great gems that you take away with you today and that you put into your lives with your little ones. And please let us know. Let us know on Instagram. Let us know on our Facebook page or group. We would love to hear how some of these are being implemented in your lives and how it's working for you. And if it feels like it's not working, or if you have really big questions like, what is Amma talking about now? I disagree. Bring it, bring it, bring it. And let's have some
Yes.
more conversation.
Yes, send us your questions, your problems. If you do try this and it's going the complete opposite of what we say,
Mhm.
share that with us, because
Yes.
it's a village, and we're all here to help and learn. And I'm grateful for learning from here. So hopefully we are helping other parents out there.
I hope so too. We love you so much, everybody.
Yes, love you.
Thanks for being here with us in our virtual village. We'd love you to join our Facebook group at The Village Parenting Community and on Instagram at The Village Parenting Pod.
And if you enjoy our podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you have a moment, please leave us a review. It makes a big difference for us in reaching more parents out there who may be feeling alone.
Please direct message us to connect also. We absolutely love hearing from you. And until next week, we'll be keeping it real and raw right here with you.
This podcast is sponsored by the Singing Amma's private parent coaching and workshop offerings, and also by Enlightened Designs for Crafty Mamas.